Back now to the election, and both parties today pledged to boost spending on infrastructure throughout the country, with Labour saying it wanted to transfer power and money out of the southeast of England into the north. Let's join Clive Myrie, who's in Leeds for us tonight. Clive.
Yeah, hi there, Sophie. We've spent the last couple of days in the city here trying to gauge the mood in the run-up to the election, a mood that turned decidedly festive once the Christmas lights were switched on officially today. And while this is a city that is solidly Labour, certainly in central areas, the Labour share of the vote has actually gone down in the last two big polls, the May Council elections and the European elections. And this actually is also a city that's as divided over Brexit as the rest of the country. Barely more than 50% of voters decided that they wanted to remain inside the European Union back in 2016. But it's not just Brexit that's the big election talking point here. It's also infrastructure and transport, and also the possibility that the Northern Rail franchise, one of the biggest actually in the country, could actually be taken back into public ownership because of complete dissatisfaction over the kind of service that's being provided. Let's get a little bit more on that now from our transport correspondent, Tom Burridge.
Having a poor train service is just really stressful. Get up in the morning not knowing what train you're going to get, if there's going to be delays, cancellations. That one just says delayed with no explanation as to how long.
Catherine's consistently challenging commute affects her life.
I think when you're living it day in, day out, it has a huge impact. You get to work and you're kind of stressed, frustrated, it just doesn't start your day very well. I think the situation with the trains in the north is really poor. It doesn't seem like anything really changes.
In fact, train company Northern is in such trouble that whatever happens in the election, any future government might have to step in and run their services. Everyone agrees the current rail system isn't working.
Rail infrastructure in Britain today, that's the tracks, the signalling, a lot of the major stations like Leeds are run by a public sector body called Network Rail. And virtually all of our trains are run by private companies who bid for and then enter into contracts with the government called franchises.
Network Rail also takes some of the blame for the poor performance on our railways today.
The franchising system today isn't just failing lots of passengers. Train companies say it's not working for them either. Northern's losing lots of money, but other franchises are too, like Greater Anglia and South Western.
The Conservatives have commissioned a rail review. After the election, they'll look at its recommendations and then overhaul the current system. Labour, the SNP and the Greens would scrap the franchising system. Public companies would start running trains when current contracts end. The Lib Dems advocate a mix of franchising and a more locally controlled model. The Brexit Party has yet to announce its rail strategy. Even people in the industry want radical reform.
Last year alone, I think only 61% of the trains actually ran on time across the UK. I don't think that's giving the best customer satisfaction for passengers. I feel like there isn't enough focus on the customer.
Some argue the mix of public and private companies doesn't work.
People aren't stupid. They know that when you're standing at a train platform, you haven't really got a choice. There isn't really a free market. What there is government trying to get some outcomes and using the private sector to do it.
Services between London and Edinburgh have been run by this public company for the past 18 months. The rail system of today will change. Voters will help decide how. Tom Burridge, BBC News in Leeds.
Yeah, the continuing problems there of rail commuters in this part of the country. Well, around 1.5 million young people will actually be eligible to vote in the upcoming election for the first time. And they're an interesting slice of the electorate because, of course, they were too young to vote in the European referendum back in 2016. So how will they cast their votes? A lot of the young people we've been talking to over the last couple of days, they're very disillusioned with the state of politics in this country at the moment, and they've been telling us why.
I feel like an MP is just going to say what you want to hear and then not do it.
What they do most is talk, and they never really do a lot of actions, which does not impress me.
I think some politicians are truthful, others are liars.
The voices of a generation in a city where so many of the young people we spoke to are disillusioned with a political class, a political system. Leeds, an urban area that crackles with a vibrant youthful energy until you mention politics.
I don't think that politicians in this country really think about the public.
Both first-time voters, Laura and Hannah, are studying for a diploma in aviation at Leeds City College. In a mock-up of a 737, they're learning how to be air stewards.
Do you think politicians think about younger people enough?
Not really, no. No.
I think they only concentrate on
Money.
Yeah, money and just about middle-aged people, really.
Ollie, who's 20, wants to be a pastry chef.
What do you want to hear from the politicians?
The truth. I mean, I've heard so many different lies and false information from so many politicians. I'm getting tired of it.
In a neighbouring Leeds constituency, another tale of alienation from Laura, a trainee tattoo artist.
Is there anything that a politician could say that would make you feel, yeah, I'll give them my vote?
It just seems like it's always like a fight, and if the attitude changed, and yeah, maybe if they started like working together rather than it always being a competitive situation.
Young voters could leave an indelible mark on this election if they turn out to vote. But what chance of that for the student bartenders, pastry chefs and airline stewards we spoke to, politically disillusioned way too soon?
The views there of a potentially significant slice of the electorate there. And with that, Sophie, from Leeds, good night, and it's back to you in London.
Clive, thank you.